Oh hey, before I start this video, I would just like to say thank you guys so much for 100 subscribers. I mean, I didn't necessarily expect us to get here, but well, we made it. I mean, it took me a couple of years throughout, I guess, making videos, but managed to make it here. I'd like to say thank you guys so much once again. Now back to the video. Can this month be more chaotic as it is since like 2 years ago? First, we started off on day one with the event releasing on a Thursday, which is a little bit confusing. Then we had like a bug that happened where a DLC weapon was available on the lucky board, which frankly got removed pretty quickly. As of recording this video on May 2nd, it's Pixel 3D's 12th anniversary, which I'm surprised. This game has been released for 12 years. Pretty insane. But I didn't expect to wake up to hear the announcement that for some reason the developers decided to make a, I guess, sequel or some sort of spin-off to this game. You've probably seen the announcement and the community is up in arms about it. Well, if you haven't heard, the developers decided to make a game called Hexagon 2. I had my theories in that video that I made about the teaser trailer that came out, which all of them came false, and now we just have the announcement of a sequel of the game. So let's talk about what we have about the game currently. Not much information has been said about it, so we'll just see what we have here. I'll give my opinions about it as well, what I think about the, I guess, sequel or spin-off, or however you want to call it, and also giving an overview of what the community thinks about it. But anyways, let's get into the video. As I mentioned in the intro, the developers decided to announce Hexagon 2, which is, I guess, the sequel, I guess, for it, the game. I guess being a separate game compared to Hexagon 3D. With the developers announcing, well, the store page for it, for some reason, it's available on Steam. In a similar way to the PC version of the game, where it's not available now, but it's coming soon. With a bit of information, or I guess a description on what the game would sort of have. It does unfortunately discloses that it uses generative AI here. Obviously in this current day and age, AI is practically used in everything nowadays. Which can be a little controversial here in terms for video games. As long as developers don't generate art with it, then it's all fine, but if it does get to that point, that's where I draw the line here. The best example here was with Black Ops 6. But anyways, there's not much information to sort of talk about what to expect for the second game, I guess. You have the discussion thread on the Discord server, which, the community can ask questions and such, which a couple of things have been answered about it. The main question you're probably going to be asking is, with Hexagon 2, what does it have to do with Pixel 3D? Would it be discontinued? Which unfortunately there is an answer to that. I'm kidding about that part, but it was answered, and thankfully it isn't. Hexagon 3D will still receive updates and support even after with Hexagon 2's release. They probably have some teams about to work on Hexagon 2 and obviously work on the original. Though that does give me a few ideas about that, which I'll probably think about later. Another being the question of anti-cheat to be present in Hexagon 2, which has been answered as well. Which makes the question, what about for Hexagon 3D? Any news on the anti-cheat? Fortunately, there is a bit of information about it, which at least it's something, but hopefully, let's just hope that it just gets released at some point, because, current state of the game, hackers. Another question is, will the game be available on mobile, similar to how Pixel 3D is, the main game? It was answered that the mobile version of the game would also be available. Wonder if a console port is ever to be confirmed here. And even I guess a few questions revolving around the future of Pixel 3D here. You have that unknown aspect here though. You don't necessarily know what will be planned for Pixel 3D even before or after Pixel 2. As I mentioned, Pixel 3D will still receive updates even after Pixel 2's release, but there's also other questions that the community might be asking as well. Like for example, any plans for the Ruby division to be released? Well, there was an answer to that, which all revolves in one word: soon. But I think another main question here that mainly a lot of people will be asking, why a second game? Like, what's wrong with the first game? Aside from, current state of the game. Can't they just invest in fixing parts of the game instead of making a sequel or I guess a second game to it? Which does have an explanation here, but I feel like they could have at least sort of reworked a few things about it. I guess the huge solution for this is remake the game from the ground up. Because currently for Pixel 3D it has, well, spaghetti code. I could see why they would want to remake a game. If anything goes wrong when they're adding a new feature, it'll probably cause a clusterfuck sort of handle. And obviously with a few things, you're sort of limited when using Unity. But anyways, with the information we've gotten, what does the community think about it? A lot of people have many doubts about it. I will say. With the second game being in develop, it'll probably be ending up as the same way as Pixel 3D is currently, which it all started off with the decline of it, obviously being microtransactions, which is not much of an issue now than it was back in the day. Not necessarily with microtransactions or anything like that, it mainly just has to do with the way that the developers sort of handle with the game. With the way that the developers sort of handle with this game being with like unbalanced weapons and practically just like less content, which kind of makes you think, are they going to be incompetent when it comes to handling the second game? A lot of people are jumping the gun, setting in stone being that the game would flop or being the DLA, that being death on arrival. Which is honestly pretty wild to believe for a game that hasn't been released yet to the public or is currently in development. But you may be asking, what is my opinions about it? I mean, when I woke up in the morning when I saw the announcements, I was a bit sort of on the 50-50 here. The first half being, why are we getting a sequel? Like, I wasn't expecting the game to get a sequel at all, but it's practically been like, unexpected here. You seen the last video I made about, talking about the teaser trailer? I thought it was for like some big feature that we're about to get for the game. I thought of a lot of features that could have been in the game prior to that video that I made. On the other half of me, I'm intrigued on how they would do with the second game. Obviously, there will probably be some core features that will be in the second game, but I guess there could probably be some features that the developers could be experimenting here that isn't possible to do on the main game. But as you know me, I'm going to be as optimistic as I can. Might as well see if there's any more information that's going to be leaked over the course of the year. Could the second game be a lot more different than the main game? Who knows? But anyways, what do you guys think of the second game that the developers are going to make? Might as well be like, I guess, the third installment. You have the original, you have Pixel World, now you just have Pixel 2 here. Are you guys looking forward to Pixel 2? Maybe not? Let me know in the comments down below. But anyways, that was gonna do for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, que pasen un día, noche, o cuando estás viendo este video. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hold up, I forgot to ask. Why are we getting a sequel to this game?